While I was making breakfast this morning, I was listening to a Sean Ryan podcast. Shout out to him. He's done some really great work recently. And as I was making dinner, I was listening to this podcast with him and Sarah Adams, who is the author of Benghazi, Know Thy Enemy. And she had a lot of great insight because she was in the CIA, and she has a lot of great insight on what's happening in the Middle East and all of the Middle East wars, etc., and how Hamas and all of these other different kinds of Islamic military groups are actually one Islamic army. And the repercussions that we're going to be facing because of our lack of wanting to deal with certain things is going to be paramount to the success that we have as a nation, specifically in the United States, and I would say as a worldwide phenomenon, as well as a worldwide society. This is going to be very important for us to understand, is that we are very much on our own in many different ways and shapes and forms, whether it's lack of trust in the institutions that we have, the people in our life, the education system, all these different prospects and infrastructures that are no longer reputable to the eyes of many people. We are now realizing that we have to completely trust ourselves and trust what we're seeing and what we're hearing and what we're operating in the modes of being that continue to expand for the greater good down the line, and not for deceit and not for lies, and having and trusting that Christ is with us. Because I don't see a lot of Christians, even the ones that are religious fanatics, I don't see a lot of Christians that are suicide bombers or that are committing attacks or terrorist attacks and whatnot. And this Sarah Adams lady, she has warned the Pentagon, allegedly, that these attacks are coming in 2025 on U.S. soil, and these Islamic military groups are set on bringing the pain to the United States soil. They want it on the U.S. soil, okay? And listening to this, I got to be very upset because it started to make sense. Well, what exactly was making sense? Well, think about the last 36 to 38 hours. Specifically for those in the United States, we've had the Cybertruck firework explosion within the last day or so, the New Orleans attack, which was New Year's Eve, as well as the New York City attack, which was just, I heard about it last night. I don't know if it was on New Year's Eve or if it was last night, but still, it was all within the last 36 to 38 hours of me filming this video. And I thought to myself, it's kind of interesting, because I did a little bit more research, and it turns out that the same person who allegedly blew up the Cybertruck and the person who rammed through the crowd of New Orleans and killed at least a dozen people, according to the last news network that I saw that had reports on it, killed a dozen people and injured a lot more than that. They're from the same military base in the United States. Now they're from places in the US, but obviously the names are, well, I won't say anything too much. I'll let you guys do the research for yourself there, but the names indicate that there's a specific point of origin for these people, okay, nationality-wise. And I'm not trying to hate on anybody or anything like that. I'm just saying that it seems pretty clear to me that this is a a terrorist attack. And now we have the FBI and the police claiming that specifically what happened in New Orleans was not a terrorist attack. And I'm looking at this and I'm seeing what happened, and I'm thinking to myself, how is this not a terrorist attack? Like, how is this not what it exactly looks like to be? And this is exactly why I started to get kind of upset thinking about these things, and talking about this just even now gets me kind of amped up, because in that same video that I saw with the Sean Ryan and Sarah podcast, they had a montage of the Taliban training, and the Taliban they look like they're prepared for war today. And then I thought to myself about how so many men and women, I mean, I don't really mind too much about the women not being ready for war, because that's a completely different thing for women. But, you know, going to the store and seeing how many men that are out of shape, that are picking up the pizza pockets, you know, picking up ice cream and putting it in their car. They've got, you know, drowls of that, and they've got just endless supply of these pizza rolls and such, this frozen pizza. And I was looking at this person and I thought to myself, like, man, how in the world does this person who's making these kinds of decisions for themselves have the equal, so to speak, say in what goes on in my government, in our government? Holy crap. Like, how in the world do these people that are making such terrible health decisions for themselves get to dictate the health of the order of society? And it's not just that. It's not just like gluttony. It's all of these sins, like the promiscuity, the greed. I mean, it's like we all have to agree on some level that there's these forms of divine order that are placed metaphysically in the society that we live in, whether you're in the US or not. Otherwise, we wouldn't have laws, right? We wouldn't have laws. And what's going on in Britain right now is nuts. I mean, I cannot believe that. I just saw this thing with this elderly guy who is getting arrested because he sparked anxiety or whatever by posting a meme or something. The UK is full on 1984 right now. And we've got seemingly surrounded on all sides enemies. And yet today at the gym as well, like, I'm hearing the guys and they're talking about the football game last night, and it's just like, are you guys even here? Like, are you on planet Earth? It's astounding to me. It's astounding to see these people are preparing for what? Like, these people at the gym are just there to socialize. They're not there to train for anything. And I mean, some of them are, yes, but a lot of these people are not. It's just insane to see the levels of cognitive dissonance in the society that we live, and the sickness spiritually, in a way where they don't even know that they're sick. They don't even know. And it gets me so angry. I may not seem like, people might have thought that this was going to be a rant or something. And I don't like to do rants here on YouTube anyway. I don't really care to do rants, but I do like to share my thoughts and perspectives as coherently and cohesively as I can. And yes, it does make me upset about this. And today, when I was at the gym, I was able to look through myself and really identify and remember and recall, like, every single day there are people trying to kill us. Like, people, and I'm not saying who exactly, because I'll let you guys be, you know, I don't want to spark any disinterested misunderstandings. I want to be as clear as possible, but while also giving you guys the freedom to think for yourselves here. Because again, the goal is not to necessarily cause a disruption or fear, a spirit of fear. It's to realize how alone we are so that we can start taking responsibility and being the men and the women that we need to be, so that when the time comes, we're not just going to have to roll over and let these people stomp on us, because it's already happening too much. You know, something that God has showed me recently is just how oppressed we really are. People want to talk about the patriarchy as oppressive. Are you kidding me? This matriarchy that we're in is way more freaking oppressive because it's so much more covertly oppressive. It's so much more covertly oppressive than the patriarchy ever could be. Because at least with the patriarchy, we knew what was what. And now everything's in the shadows. We still have no clue who's really running the United States as at this moment. Everything's a shadow on the wall. And the amount of pushback that is happening internally, to think that we can be capable of helping other people become more democratic as a country in America right now, is highly laughable to me, because we can't even get ourselves together. We can't even get ourselves on track. The people of the United States are being targeted. The true patriots of the United States are being targeted. And people have said, like, I've got an American flag here. I saw one comment being like, worshiping the American flag. It's like, I'm not worshiping the American flag. But yeah, I'm going to have it up because it's part of my heritage. It's part of my tradition. Like, part of realizing who you are is knowing where you're coming from, okay? And you're going to spend the first 2 or 3 decades doing that just to get to the life that you're meant to live, okay? And America, to me, is not necessarily a country anymore anyway. It's more of an ideal. And that can be sad, but it's also liberating as well. And it's not that I think that America is the all end all be all, but I do love my country, and the country is like a name. Okay, it gives you some semblance of nationality and identity. It helps with the cultural identity that's going to instill itself into your personality, so that you can become and be a full-fledged individual that is participating in society to increase the probability of prosperity for everybody, and to give value to people that really want it, and that desire that what you have to offer. And it's just so amazing to me how people will do anything to take things out of context nowadays. It's just it's just kind of funny. And we were reading Proverbs last night in the Regal Change Academy. We were reading the Proverbs, and one of the verses said something along the lines of, forsake the foolish. And you might think to yourself, well, isn't that kind of like leaving people behind? Like, why do we want to leave people behind? Well, it's not necessarily we want to leave people behind, but it's like the foolishness is going to lead you to the gates of hell. And if you want to go to the gates of hell, then that's fine. Don't forsake foolishness. But if you want to get to somewhere better, and if you want to live a life where wisdom is valued, where philosophy is valued, where science is not only studied and reviewed, but also re-energized and reconfigured to ensure that we're getting the latest and updatest versions of everything, and we're constantly evolving, where family is valued, where homesteads are valued and accepted and not just punished, where people are not punished for having creative ideas. If we want to get to a life like that, then yeah, we're going to have to forsake foolishness. And here on this channel, my goal is to revolutionize psychology, spirituality, and culture itself, to really make and this is where I have the name Regal change come into play, to make a regal change in the society that we live. Because this is just, we can't go on like this. And we're not prepared. We're simply not prepared. And it's more and more evident every single day. And so at the gym today, I was able to summon spiritual strength that I haven't felt for quite a while. And part of that is because of all the fasting I've been doing recently. I did 2 3-day fasts within the last month. And that really, it took me like, I would say probably 3 or 4 days to fully recover from the fast and get my strength back. So I spent half of the month, the last month, either fasting or trying to get back to where my strength was really at. And today I finally felt like I was finally going further than where I was going before. I was hitting that barrier of going beyond. And part of it was because I have to realize and remind myself every single day that this life is a gift. And yes, no weapon formed against us shall prosper, but that doesn't mean that we don't get to have, it doesn't mean that we just got to sit back and chill and let Jesus do the rest. That doesn't mean that. We still have to participate in the world. We're not of the world, but we are in it. And there's good worth fighting for in this life. And there's good that is worth seeing. And part of that goodness, I genuinely think, is the Constitution of the United States. I think that as far as governments go, that was probably one of the most, I would say, I don't know why this doesn't feel right, but the word ostentatious comes to mind. I don't even know if that's correct, but that word comes to mind when I think about America and what it stands for. I don't agree with the politics or the government going on currently in any way, shape, or form. But what's really cool about the American government is that it was designed to not be intrusive on the ideals or virtues or principles of the individual, and to maximize goodness and minimize punishment for wrong. Because now, don't get me wrong, when you do something wrong spiritually, you're going to be punished for that no matter what. But I also think that if we really want to make heaven on earth in some way, shape, or form, if you believe that a form of heavenliness can be instilled here on earth, which I genuinely believe that it can be, I think heaven and hell are not just places, but states of mind. And if we all collectively had a heavenly state of mind, well, then we'd be able to create a mechanism and a continuum of heavenliness in which heaven would be on earth in some way, shape, or form. And whether that's just in the mind or not, it would still be a form of heavenliness. So, and I don't think that that's a wrong thing to strive for. I don't think heavenliness is something wrong to strive for. Now, I'm making heavenliness a quality, okay, not necessarily a place there. But heaven can be a state of mind or a place. I want to make sure I'm getting the distinctions right for the people here. And so if we were able to come together collectively, like, well, how do we do that? How would we be able to create a sense of heavenliness on earth? Well, we'd all have to follow God's laws, statutes, and commandments. And I know that's a really tall order for society, especially considering the state of, what we're in. But I full-heartedly believe that even though this is a hypothetical that is very unlikely to happen, it's worthy to be considered, and it's important to be considered in the long-term effects of the society as a whole. Because if everybody were able to be following in God's laws, statutes, and commandments, then we would be governed by God himself. We wouldn't need government. And God is already governing us, don't get me wrong. But to become a politician and become some form of government leader, I think is one of the most disruptive things you can do for your soul. I think it's terrible. I don't think anybody should necessarily be a politician. But as far as politics go and as far as government goes, yeah, you know what? America's pretty damn good comparatively to what was before. And of course, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have its flaws. It doesn't mean that it's perfect in any way, shape, or form. But I love this country and I love the people in it. And I really don't want to see us perish simply because of ignorance. So that's why I'm making this video today. And with all that being said, I hope this message was insightful and useful for you guys, gave you some deeper insights into certain things, or made you think about something different. If you do want to join the Regal Change Academy, we have the free Discord available with a bunch of free resources for meditation, healing, and fitness. And then we have the paid community where we're doing classes. So right now we have the Art of War class series happening. We just got done with the 7 Deadly Sins, reading Dante's Inferno about a month or two ago. We're going to have more class series down the line. I'm wanting to do a virtual meditation retreat for all of those in the paid community for the Regal Change Academy within the next couple months or so. And I also want to do another 3-day fast for the community as well within the next couple months. And so you're going to be getting a whole bunch of different kinds of insight and classes available there. We also have 2 Bible studies per week in there. These are just part of the membership. And we also have a weekly congregation where we talk about a variety of different things. And it's really a Regal assembly where we all meet and assemble and we talk about plans for the future and what's happening and anything and everything in between. So if you're interested in that, there are all links in the description box below. I do want to appreciate everybody moving from the YouTube platform over to X, Instagram, and Rumble recently. I appreciate your guys' extra support. And with all that being said, peace be with you all. Till next time.